And we're here today with Eileen Coit. Eileen is an agricultural extension agent here in Wayne County, and you specialize in livestock. Is that right?
That is correct.
Well, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me about the livestock of Wayne County. What kind of livestock do we have here? And I think people might be surprised at what we do have here in Wayne County. Tell me about, just in general terms, the livestock of Wayne County.
Well, of course, as you drive down the road, you should notice that we have a lot of hog farms and poultry operations. Those would be those large, long buildings. Maybe have fans on one end of them. You might see a lagoon for their animal waste management. And so that's a big part of it. And then we also have beef cattle. And a lot of times, the farmers that have the hogs or the poultry will also have beef cattle. And we have quite a bit of horses here too. We also have sheep and goats. So
I think people who do not venture out into the county actually don't realize that we have what we do have here. Wayne County, North Carolina is extremely important in the hog industry.
Absolutely.
One of the largest in the nation.
Absolutely. We are, well, you figure North Carolina is second largest in the nation.
Right.
And Wayne County is the fourth largest in hog production. So, and then our neighboring counties, Duplin and Sampson, are number 1 and number 2. So, eastern North Carolina, you know, there's a lot of hog production going on here.
Very important in the hog industry and the swine industry. So, not only in hogs, but also in poultry. Turkey's extremely important here in eastern North Carolina.
Lots of turkeys, lots of chickens too. You know,
and chickens. Yeah.
We have case farms right here in Wayne County, you know, processing plant, and then next door in Kinston, Sanderson Farms was put in a plant. So, but definitely Butterball is right here, you know.
That's right.
So poultry's a big thing.
So the livestock industry here in Wayne County, North Carolina is alive and well.
Absolutely.
So aside from poultry and aside from the swine industry, we also have beef cattle you mentioned. Now,
Yes.
I would venture to say there's a lot of people that are not aware of the beef cattle industry here in Wayne County. Not only do we have dairy cattle,
Yes.
but we also
dairy
have beef cattle. Tell me about the beef cattle industry here.
Well, as I said, and when we say beef cattle, we're a lot of times we're talking about the British breeds like Angus, Old Hereford, and then of course there's so many of the other what we call the continental breeds that came from Europe. But there's a lot of commercial operations. Most of what we have is what we call commercial operations, and that's when we crossbreed different breeds. And so we have, like I said, many of our beef operations are also, those producers are also, you know, maybe also in hog farming, maybe also in poultry. Some of them may have a public job. They may work, you know, an 8 to 5 job and then have their cattle that they tend to in the evenings and the weekends.
Don't we have at the environmental systems, the farm Center for Environmental Farming Systems, CEFS? Don't they have a large cattle farm out there?
They do. They actually have a beef cattle operation and a dairy. So, which, you know, I'm getting a little off subject here, but we actually have we have 3 dairies in Wayne County. 2 of them are cattle dairies. One of them is at the research farm. And we have another Holstein dairy in Grantham. And we also have a goat dairy in Grantham.
That's yes, I'm familiar with that one. I didn't know we had a Holstein dairy there as well.
We do.
How about that?
Yes.
Now at CEFS, the dairy cattle, a lot of the beef cattle at CEFS, the Center for Environmental Farming Systems, near the hospital out in western Wayne County.
Right.
That area, they do a lot of testing and experiments that affect food across the country and around the world.
Absolutely. Some of the research that they do is on forages, so the grass that we feed the cattle, knowing what grows well, how to manage it. In addition to that, they do some research on different breeds of beef cattle. So obviously here in eastern North Carolina, we have heat, that we deal with.
Right.
And so they do some research on what are the more heat-tolerant breeds of cattle. Also, we start dealing with flies this time of year. It's the season for that. So there's certain breeds that are more tolerant to flies.
Really?
So they do some research on that. And then, of course, there's other research that's done on, you know, what are the fastest growing animals, what are going to be the more productive animals, those kind of things too.
And you had mentioned horse farming in this area. We have a large equine population. Is that right?
We really do. You know, sometimes the horses get overlooked because they tend to be more of a recreational type animal. But we have lots of horses in the area, lots of young people riding horses and showing horses, and you know, and then lots of horses that are just there, you know, that are companions. And
before we started taping today, we were talking about some of the contests. There's a lot of competition, especially among school children here in Wayne County. Tell me about some of the things that will be going on this summer in the competition area.
Well, this week we're getting ready for the state 4-H livestock contest, which is next week. Next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we'll be in Raleigh, and there'll be 4-H'ers from all across the state.
And this will be the end of June.
Yes.
The end.
Yeah, that's right.
Because this may be shown
absolutely
a little later on, but the end of June.
End of June.
Right.
We'll get together. And we'll take 2 days that we'll spend time on livestock judging. So the kids will, they'll learn about, and they'll be competing on how well they can judge classes of cattle, hogs, sheep, and goats. So we'll have pens with, say, 4 animals to a pen, and they'll never have to judge more than 4 or compare more than 4 to one another. And those will be market animals and also animals that will be used for breeding.
Okay. So is this through the schools, or is this through 4-H?
Through 4-H.
Through 4-H. Okay.
Yep. So we'll do that on the first 2 days, and then on the third day we have what's called Skillathon, and that is to test their knowledge about livestock. So in other words, they'll learn about different breeds of livestock, what livestock eat. You know, whether it be grains or forages. They'll also, there'll be cuts of meat that will be laid out on the table, and they'll be asked, well, is that beef or is that lamb, and where did it come from? You know, is it from the rib or is it the loin?
What age of children are we talking about here?
These will be from 9 to 19.
And this is a statewide competition?
It is.
Historically, how have we done in the past with a statewide competition?
Well, we take youth in each of the contests, and the contests are broken down by species a little bit, and also overall.
You're talking about species of animal?
Of animals,
oh, okay.
Yes. So,
not children. We know what they are.
We have, in the past, we have won different divisions, you know, of the species. You know, like we might win the beef cattle in the judging division, or the swine. We actually, one year, we won the state contest in the horse judging contest, which is a separate contest from the livestock.
Yeah.
But we were pretty proud of that. That year we were the top in the state. We also have a quiz bowl contest where we have 2 teams of young people, 4 on a team, and they have their buzzers, and they, you know, ask them a question to do with livestock. They buzz in, and last year we actually won first place in that contest.
Wow!
So that was pretty exciting. And we also, the kids are not only judged as a team, but they also are ranked individually. And we have had young people that ranked in the top 10 in the state and have gone on and competed on the North Carolina team before.
You mean nationally?
Nationally.
Wow.
Absolutely. That's the next step is that they'll have contests later on this summer and in the fall. They'll end up at a show in Louisville, Kentucky called the North American. And it's just one of the largest livestock shows in the country.
Wow.
And they have a skillathon and a judging contest there.
Is there any way to determine how many of Wayne County children who participate in these contests, in this competition. How many of them actually go on to become farmers, or how many of them go into agriculture beyond that? Any way to determine that? Or would you just say there's quite a few?
Could come up with that information. I would say that unfortunately it's probably not a large percentage, but we have, for example, we have one young person who started out in 4-H and he's now a veterinarian.
Oh.
Now he does some large animal work, but he also does a lot of companion animals, small animal work too. So, in my opinion, that would be somewhat staying in the field.
Sure, it would be. It would be. They don't necessarily become farmers,
right?
Or they don't necessarily have livestock, but they may become involved in the agricultural industry, livestock industry in some way. Veterinarian.
Definitely.
Such as that.
That's right.
Very good. Well,
and I think he attributes a lot of that knowledge. You know, I mean, there was a lot of background knowledge that probably helped him when he got to vet school.
I'm sure. Well, if someone wants to know more about the livestock of Wayne County, if they want to talk to you, if they have any questions about it, how would they contact you?
They would call the Cooperative Extension Office here in Wayne County, and that number is 919-731-1520.
Very good. We've been talking with Eileen Coit, who specializes in livestock with the Wayne County Cooperative Extension Service. And thank you very much, Eileen, for being with us today.
Thank you, Wayne.
And if you have any questions, Eileen's number is 731-1520 with the Cooperative Extension Service. Thank you.